First contact with the forgotten Captain Tishra had mapped over 300 star systems in her 4 centuries of service. But something about the readings from Kepler 442b made her secondary hearts flutter with anticipation. Her sleek exploration vessel, the Starwind, drifted through the outer atmosphere of the distant world, its sensors painting an impossible picture on her command displays. "Captain," called out Engineer Zolak from his station, his crystalline nexary features reflecting the soft blue glow of the instrument panels. "These energy signatures don't match any known technology in our databases. The patterns are too organized to be natural." Tishra's 4-armed frame leaned forward in her command chair, her compound eyes studying the data streams with practiced precision. The Kethva had been exploring the galaxy for millennia, cataloging dead worlds and abandoned settlements left behind by the Great Expansion Wars. Most discoveries were predictable: scattered ruins, empty cities, and the occasional automated beacon still broadcasting messages to species that no longer existed. But this was different. "What's the source of the energy readings?" she asked, her melodic voice carrying the authority of someone who had seen wonders that would drive lesser minds to madness. "Unknown, Captain. The signals are emanating from what appears to be a research, the facility of human origin. But according to our records, this system was evacuated 53 years ago during the Terran Exodus. Nothing should be active here." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the surface of Kepler 442b in stunning detail. The planet was a garden world, with vast oceans and continents covered in lush vegetation. But what caught Tishra's attention were the structures scattered across one particular landmass. They weren't the geometric shapes typical of human architecture. Instead, they appeared organic, flowing like crystalline growths that seemed to pulse with their own inner light. "Life signs?" she inquired. "Confirmed, Captain. 237 human biosignatures, all active, all healthy." Zoe's voice carried a note of amazement that was rare for his typically analytical species. "Captain, if these readings are accurate, they've not just survived 50 years of isolation, they've thrived." Tishra stood, her 4 arms moving in the ritual gesture of preparation that her people had performed before every significant discovery. "Prepare a diplomatic landing party. Full, peaceful protocols. If there are surviving humans down there, they've earned our respect simply by enduring." The shuttle whisper descended through the planet's atmosphere with the grace of a falling leaf. As they approached the surface, the mysterious structures became even more intriguing. They weren't buildings in any conventional sense. They appeared to be grown rather than constructed, their surfaces shifting with patterns of light that seemed almost alive. The landing site was a cleared area near what appeared to be the central facility. As the shuttle's engines powered down, Tishra noticed something that made her pause. The ground itself seemed to respond to their presence. Subtle changes in coloration radiating outward from where the shuttle had touched down. "Fascinating," whispered Dr. Velith, the expedition's xenobiologist. Her tentacled Azari form quivered with excitement. "The planetary surface appears to have been modified at a molecular level. This isn't terraforming as we understand it. This is something entirely new." The shuttle doors opened, and the landing party stepped onto the surface of Kepler 442b. The air was breathable for all their species, which was unusual enough. But what struck them immediately was the quality of silence. Not the empty silence of a dead world, but the purposeful quiet of a place where every sound had meaning. They didn't have to wait long. A figure emerged from the central structure, walking with the confident stride of someone completely at home in their environment. She appeared to be human, but there were subtle differences that became more apparent as she approached. Her movements were too fluid, too precise. Her eyes held a depth that seemed to contain far more awareness than any baseline human should possess. "Welcome to Research Station, Omega-7, she said, her voice carrying harmonics that resonated strangely in the modified atmosphere. "I am Dr. Alina Vasquez, senior researcher and current administrator of this facility. We've been expecting visitors for quite some time." Captain Tishra stepped forward, performing the standard Galactic Consortium greeting gesture. "I am Captain Tishra of the Kethva Exploration Fleet. We believed this system to be uninhabited. Our records show a complete evacuation 53 years ago." Alina smiled, and there was something in that expression that suggested she knew far more about the situation than she was letting on. "Not everyone left, Captain. Some of us chose to stay behind to complete our work. We've been ... busy." As Alina led them toward the central structure, more humans emerged from various buildings. Each one moved with the same fluid grace, the same sense of purposeful awareness. Children played in gardens that seemed to respond to their laughter, plants shifting and changing to create new playground equipment. Adults worked alongside technologies that defied easy categorization, their hands interfacing directly with systems that pulsed with organic light. "Dr. Vasquez," said Zolak, his analytical mind struggling to process what he was seeing. "These structures, this technology, it's unlike anything in our databases. How did our isolated research station develop such advanced systems?" Alina paused at the entrance to the central facility, her hand resting on what appeared to be a living door that responded to her touch by flowing open like liquid metal. "That's a long story, engineer, but I think you'll find it worth hearing." The interior of the facility was a marvel that left even the experienced exploration team speechless. The walls were transparent, revealing vast chambers where humans worked, alongside machines that seemed to think and respond like living creatures. But more amazing than the technology was the people themselves. "Captain," Elena said, her voice taking on a more formal tone, "what I'm about to show you will challenge everything your civilizations believe about the nature of consciousness, identity, and the potential for intelligent life to transcend its original limitations." She led them to an observation deck overlooking the facility's main research chamber. Below them, a human technician named Marcus Chen was demonstrating something that should have been impossible. He placed his hand on a crystalline interface, and suddenly his consciousness seemed to expand beyond his physical form. Multiple screens lit up simultaneously as his awareness spread through the facility's entire network. 50 years ago, Alina explained, our research team was on the verge of a breakthrough in consciousness transfer technology when the evacuation order came. Most of our colleagues left, believing the work was too dangerous or too theoretical. But a small group of us decided to stay behind and see our research through to completion. Marcus withdrew his hand from the interface and looked up at the observation deck, his eyes holding the same enhanced awareness they had noticed in Alina. "We succeeded beyond our wildest expectations," he called out. "We didn't just create a way to transfer consciousness. We found a method to enhance it, to expand its capabilities while maintaining the essential humanity that makes us who we are." Dr. Veleth's tentacles writhed with excitement. "You've created a hybrid existence, part biological, part digital, but somehow retaining the advantages of both." "Exactly," Alina confirmed. "We call it expanded consciousness. Every person here has undergone the process voluntarily. We can access vast databases of information instantly, share thoughts and experiences directly with one another, and maintain perfect memory of everything we've learned. But we haven't lost our creativity, our emotions, or our essential human nature. A young woman approached the group, moving with the same enhanced grace they had observed in the others. She appeared to be in her 20s, with the distinctive features that marked her as someone born on this world, rather than having arrived with the original research team. "This is Kira Okafor," Alina said with obvious pride. "She represents the third generation born here since we began our work. She's never known existence without expanded consciousness." Kira smiled at the alien visitors, her enhanced awareness immediately analyzing and cataloging their species characteristics, while simultaneously accessing decades of stored knowledge about their cultures and languages. "It's an honor to meet representatives of the Galactic Consortium," she said, switching between 3 different alien languages to address each team member in their native tongue. "We've been preparing for this day for a very long time." Captain Tishra found herself struggling to maintain her composure. In her centuries of exploration, she had encountered many advanced civilizations, but nothing quite like this. "Dr. Vasquez, the implications of what you've achieved here. This could revolutionize every aspect of galactic civilization." "Yes," Alina replied quietly, "we know. That's why we've been so careful. Consciousness enhancement isn't just a technology, Captain. It's a fundamental change in what it means to be a thinking being. It requires wisdom, patience, and, above all, the moral framework to use such power responsibly." She gestured toward the vast research complex around them. "We've spent 50 years not just perfecting the technology, but developing the ethical guidelines and social structures necessary to make such enhancement beneficial rather than destructive. We've been waiting for the right moment, the right visitors, to begin sharing what we've learned." Engineer Zolak stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overriding his usual caution. "You've been testing visitors, evaluating them." "In a sense," Marcus replied, joining the group. "Our enhanced awareness allows us to perceive intentions, emotional states, and moral frameworks with remarkable clarity. We needed to be certain that any species we contacted would approach this technology with the proper respect for its power." As the tour continued, the magnitude of human achievement became increasingly apparent. The research station wasn't just a settlement of survivors. It was a carefully planned community where enhanced humans had spent decades perfecting not just the technology of consciousness expansion, but the wisdom necessary to use it properly. Gardens that responded to emotional states, educational systems that could download complex knowledge directly into enhanced minds. And most remarkably, a form of democracy where decisions were made through direct sharing of thoughts and experiences rather than mere debate. "The most amazing thing," Kira explained as she demonstrated the facility's learning systems, "is that enhancement doesn't diminish our humanity. If anything, it makes us more human. We experience emotions more deeply, understand beauty more completely, and connect with one another on levels that were impossible before." As the day drew to a close, Captain Tishra found herself facing a decision that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. The humans of Research Station Omega-7 had offered to share their greatest discovery. But the choice of what to do with that knowledge would rest with her. The truth that had left them speechless wasn't just what humanity had achieved in isolation. It was the wisdom they had shown in waiting 50 years for the right moment to share it with the galaxy. Asterisk, beyond the physical realm. The second day on Kepler 4 for to be, began with a demonstration that would forever change Captain Tishra's understanding of what intelligent life could become. Dr. Elena Vasquez had invited the alien delegation to witness what she called the morning convergence, a daily ritual where the entire enhanced human community shared their experiences and insights from the previous day. In the central plaza of Research Station Omega 7, 237 humans gathered in a perfect spiral formation as Tishra and her team watched from a nearby observation platform. The humans placed their hands on crystalline nodes that emerged from the living ground beneath their feet. What happened next defied every assumption about individual consciousness that the Galactic Consortium had ever held. The air itself seemed to shimmer as the enhanced humans connected their expanded awareness into a single, unified network. Colors that had no names in any known language flowed between the participants, and for a brief moment, the alien observers could sense the incredible depth of shared experience flowing through the community. "They're thinking together," whispered Dr. Velith, her tentacles trembling with amazement. Not just communicating, but actually sharing the process of thought itself. Elena, who had remained connected to the network while simultaneously maintaining awareness of her guests, turned to address the alien delegation. "For the past 50 years, we've been exploring the boundaries of what consciousness can become when it's no longer limited by the constraints of individual biological neural networks." She gestured toward the plaza where the morning convergence was reaching its conclusion. "Every day, we share our discoveries, our innovations, and our insights. No human here has to struggle alone with a problem or face a challenge without the accumulated wisdom of our entire community." Marcus Chen approached the group, his enhanced awareness still partially connected to the network. "But we haven't lost our individuality, Captain Tishra. If anything, we've become more uniquely ourselves. When you have access to unlimited knowledge and perfect memory, personality becomes more important, not less." Young Kira Okafor bounded up to the group with the enthusiasm of someone who had never known the limitations that constrained baseline consciousness. "Would you like to experience it yourself?" she asked innocently. "We can create a temporary interface that would allow you to glimpse what enhanced awareness feels like." Engineer Zolak stepped back instinctively, his analytical mind struggling with the implications. Is it ... safe? What are the risks of consciousness expansion for non-human species? "That's one of the reasons we've been so careful," Elena explained, leading them toward a smaller facility designed specifically for research into multi-species consciousness enhancement. Every sapient species processes information differently. What works for humans might be incompatible with Kethver neural architecture or Nexiri crystalline thought patterns. The research facility was a marvel of biotechnological integration. Living computers grew alongside traditional electronics, creating hybrid systems that could adapt their processing methods to match different types of consciousness. The walls pulsed with gentle patterns of light that seemed to respond to the thoughts and emotions of everyone present. "We've spent 30 years studying the neural patterns and consciousness structures of every known sapient species," Marcus explained, as he guided them through the facility. Not to experiment on them, but to understand how consciousness enhancement might be safely adapted for different forms of intelligent life. Dr. Velith's scientific curiosity finally overcame her caution. "You've been preparing for contact all along. You knew other species would eventually find you." "We hoped they would," Elena replied. "Consciousness enhancement isn't meant to be hoarded by humanity alone. The universe is vast, And there are challenges facing galactic civilization that require more than individual species working in isolation. She activated a holographic display that showed the current state of the known galaxy. Worlds devastated by resource depletion, species trapped in cycles of war and competition, entire civilizations struggling with problems that could be solved through enhanced cooperation and shared intelligence. We've been developing solutions, Kira said, her young voice carrying the weight of unprecedented wisdom, not just to human problems, but to the fundamental challenges that limit the growth and happiness of all intelligent life. Captain Tishra studied the holographic data with growing amazement. The enhanced humans had spent 5 decades not just perfecting their consciousness expansion technology, but using their enhanced capabilities to analyze and develop solutions for galactic-scale problems, disease eradication protocols that could work across multiple species, resource management systems that could end scarcity permanently, communication technologies that could bridge the gap between radically different forms of consciousness, and most remarkably, conflict resolution methods that could end the cycle of warfare that had plagued the galaxy for millennia. This is why you've been waiting, she realized. You weren't just perfecting the technology, you were preparing to heal the galaxy. Exactly, Alina confirmed. But consciousness enhancement can't be imposed from outside. It has to be chosen freely, understood completely, and implemented with the full support of the species undergoing the process. Engineer Zolak had been examining the multi-species interface systems with growing fascination. The technical challenges alone must have been staggering. How did you solve the compatibility problems between different neural architectures? Marcus smiled, his enhanced awareness accessing decades of research data in milliseconds. We didn't solve them through technology alone. We developed something we call consciousness diplomacy. Instead of trying to force different types of minds to work the same way, we created interface methods that preserve the unique strengths of each species while enabling unprecedented cooperation. He activated a demonstration system that showed how Kethfer compound vision could be enhanced to process vast amounts of visual data simultaneously, while Nexari crystalline thought patterns could be expanded to perform calculations at speeds that exceeded any known computer. Azari, tentacle-based neural networks, could coordinate multiple streams of consciousness more effectively than any other known species. Each species brings something unique to the enhanced consciousness network, Kira explained with the enthusiasm of someone who had grown up believing that cooperation between different forms of intelligence was not just possible, but natural. Humans provide creativity and emotional depth. Kethfa offer analytical precision and pattern recognition. Nexari contribute mathematical processing power that's absolutely incredible. Dr. Valaith's tentacles writhed with excitement as she realized the implications. You're not just proposing individual enhancement. You're suggesting the creation of a multi-species consciousness network that preserves the strengths of each participant while enabling unprecedented cooperation. The morning convergence you witnessed earlier, Alina said, is just a small example of what becomes possible when intelligent beings can truly share their thoughts, experiences, and capabilities. Imagine what could be accomplished if entire civilizations could work together with that level of coordination. As the day progressed, the alien delegation was introduced to the full scope of what the enhanced human community had achieved. Children who could access the accumulated knowledge of centuries while retaining the wonder and creativity of youth. Adults who had solved problems that had stumped galactic civilization for millennia. Elderly researchers who had transcended the limitations of aging while maintaining the wisdom that comes from decades of experience. But perhaps most impressive was the community's approach to decision. Through their enhanced consciousness network, they had developed a form of governance that was both completely democratic and incredibly efficient. Every decision was made with full knowledge of its implications, complete understanding of different perspectives, and unanimous agreement on the best course of action. "We don't vote," Marcus explained as he showed them the community's governance center. "We think together until we reach understanding. Conflicts still arise, but they're resolved through shared experience rather than debate or force." As evening approached, Dr. Alina Vasquez made the alien delegation an offer that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. "Captain Tishra," she said, her enhanced awareness allowing her to perceive the complex mixture of wonder, fear, and hope in the Kethva explorer's consciousness. "We would be honored if you would consider becoming the first non-human ambassador to undergo temporary consciousness enhancement." The proposal hung in the air like a bridge between two different forms of existence. Tishra could see the potential benefits clearly: access to knowledge and capabilities beyond imagination, the ability to experience the universe from perspectives no individual consciousness had ever known, and the opportunity to help guide her species toward a future of unprecedented cooperation and growth. But she could also sense the magnitude of the change being offered. Consciousness enhancement wasn't just an upgrade to existing capabilities. It was a fundamental transformation of what it meant to be a thinking, feeling being. "What would I experience?" she asked quietly. "You would remain completely yourself," Alina assured her, "but you would gain access to the accumulated knowledge and experience of our entire community. You would be able to think alongside minds that have spent 50 years exploring the furthest reaches of consciousness. And you would help us understand how to adapt our techniques for your species." Engineer Zolok stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his caution. "I volunteer to undergo the process as well. The potential for advancing Nexori mathematical capabilities alone would justify the risks." Dr. Veleth's tentacles formed patterns of agreement, "and I can provide data on a Zeri neural architecture that might help you develop enhancement protocols. For my species," as the three alien visitors made their decision to undergo temporary consciousness enhancement, they were unknowingly taking the first step toward a transformation that would reshape galactic civilization. The enhanced humans of Research Station Omega-7 had spent 50 years preparing for this moment, developing not just the technology to expand consciousness, but the wisdom necessary to guide other species through the same transformation. The process itself was surprisingly gentle. Each alien visitor was connected to a biotechnological interface specifically calibrated for their neural architecture. As their consciousness began to expand, they experienced a gradual awakening to capabilities they had never imagined possible, Captain. Tishra found herself thinking with a clarity and depth that made her previous mental processes seem dim by comparison. She could access vast databases of information while simultaneously maintaining awareness of multiple parallel thought streams. Most remarkably, she could sense the thoughts and emotions of the enhanced humans around her, creating a level of understanding and empathy that transcended anything possible through conventional communication. For engineers Olak, the mathematical processing capabilities were nothing short of miraculous. Complex calculations that would have required days of work could be completed in seconds, while maintaining perfect accuracy and exploring multiple solution pathways. Simultaneously, Dr. Veleth, experienced an explosion of sensory awareness that allowed her to perceive patterns and connections in biological systems that had been invisible to her before. Her enhanced consciousness could track thousands of variables simultaneously while maintaining intuitive understanding of their relationships and implications. But perhaps most important was what they experienced together. For the first time in galactic history, representatives of different species were sharing thoughts, experiences, and capabilities directly. The barriers that had limited cooperation between different forms of intelligent life were dissolving, replaced by unprecedented understanding and empathy, as the temporary enhancement began to fade, bringing them back to their baseline consciousness. All three alien visitors found themselves forever changed by the experience. They had glimpsed what intelligent life could become when it transcended the limitations of individual existence, while retaining the unique strengths that made each species special. "Captain," Alina said, as the process concluded, "you now understand what we've been preparing for all these years. The galaxy faces challenges that no single species can solve alone. But working together, with enhanced consciousness, enabling true cooperation and understanding, there's no problem we can't overcome." Tishra looked around at the enhanced humans who had dedicated their lives to developing this incredible gift. For galactic civilization, she realized that the truth that had left them speechless wasn't just humanity's achievement in creating consciousness enhancement technology. It was their wisdom in understanding that true progress comes not from advancing alone, but from lifting up all intelligent life together. The humans of Research Station Omega-7 hadn't just survived 50 years of isolation. They had used that time to prepare a gift that would allow every species in the galaxy to transcend their individual limitations, while celebrating what made them unique. As the Starwind prepared to depart Kepler-4 for to be, carrying news of humanity's incredible achievement to the Galactic Consortium, Captain Tishra knew that they were returning home with more than just a remarkable discovery. They were carrying the seeds of a transformation that would unite the galaxy in ways that had never been possible before, ushering in an age where the combined consciousness of all intelligent species would work together to solve the greatest challenges facing civilization. The Silent Watchers had finally revealed themselves, and their gift would change everything. Asterisk.